Last night we had a Doctor Who Easter special. We had a Legend of the Sea Devils, Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall's penultimate story, which at the end seemed to get superseded by the proper trailer for the Centenary special. But we'll talk about that shortly. But I would like to introduce our guest. I'd like to introduce Troy, aka Red Archer Live, who you may know as one half of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast, which he co-hosts with Crispy Pro. How you doing, Troy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, doing good, thank you. Good. Thank you for being here this evening. I understand that you've got like your own live stream, which you may have rescheduled because of this, but I appreciate the time.
It's all I know. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I took the night off just for you. It should be such an honor for you.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate it nevertheless. So what we'll do before we talk about Legend of the Sea Devils is because you talk about this a little bit in your podcast, Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast with Crispy. But I'd like to know roughly what is like what's like your introduction to Doctor Who? Because the Sea Devils, they're in two like classic era stories from the 60s, from the 70s and from the 1980s. Like, did you have much experience with them before? Like, what's your classic series knowledge or experience?
Very little.
That's fine. We're all friends here. We're all friends here. No shame.
You're showing me up, man. You can't do that to me. No, I've seen very little. The only classic serial I've actually seen from start to finish is The Time Warrior, the first Sontaran story. I don't even know why. I think that was mainly because of Sarah Jane. I just wanted to see her first story and just watch that start to finish. But I've seen the odd bit here and there. I've seen a little bit of like Time in the Rani and An Unearthly Child and stuff like that. But I need to watch Classic Who properly, and I just haven't. So that's something that I need to do desperately.
Well, when we talk Centenary stuff, I'll give you some homework. I'll give you a list of Tegan and Ace stories to watch.
Yeah, I need that, to be fair. I need that because I recognized Ace immediately, but I didn't recognize Tegan, and I felt very bad for it. I was like, I know you, but I don't remember your name. And then as soon as I saw the tweets, I was like, yes, it's Tegan. It's Tegan. I don't know why I forgot that.
Yeah, it's that Australian lady. What's her name? What's her face? So yeah, we'll talk Legend of the Sea Devils because one reason I wanted to get you on for this particular episode is because I really like your input on the Jodie Whittaker, Chris Chibnall era. Like, you consider the Spyfall cliffhanger to be like an all-time Doctor Who great, which is awesome.
Yep.
That's a really great take. So like I think you're I don't want to say like an apologist for the era. All friends here, absolutely. Sacha Dhawan signed print.
Yeah,
that is superb.
Sacha is my favorite master, so I'll just slide that in there. I'm gonna annoy some people, I don't know.
He's my favorite of the revival. I
love
his performance. I'm looking forward to him next in the next special, 100%.
Yeah, going for his Tom Hanks Castaway, I think, from the look of it. I don't know what was going on there, but
he started the trailer clean shaven, and then he started all grizzled and bearded and long hair. It's like the wait from Waiting for the 14th Doctor. Like that's what it's done to us, really, mentally.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that in mind, what were your expectations for Legend of the Sea Devils, and did it deliver?
Yeah, people seem to not be as keen on the episode, and I kind of get what people mean, but I went into it. I think my biggest issue with it is the length of it, to be honest with you, because it was only about 45 minutes, and it was like, you know, the whole marketing termed it as a special episode, and it is meant to be a special episode, but the fact that a lot of Jodie Whittaker's just base series episodes are a similar, if not a couple minutes longer runtime, it just, to me, felt like they didn't... Like, my argument in my head was thinking, okay, they'll have chosen a runtime based on what was in the episode, and hopefully that means there won't be much filler. But I just feel like there could have been more to the episode to give it more to go on. The Sea Devils just kind of... It was a very surface-level story, I felt like. It was good. I enjoyed it, I think, more than a lot of other people did. But I did also feel like it didn't do a great deal. It kind of was just a very run-of-the-mill story. I just really liked it. And probably all the Thasmin stuff overwrote it, because I've been backing that so much, especially through Flux. So I was just waiting for even little tidbits. So as soon as the date was mentioned, I was like, okay, here we go.
But yeah, it was those scenes where I think where the story did take its breath and it did slow down, and these moments were allowed to hit the audience. I think that's why the Thasmin stuff maybe hit a bit harder than the actual swashbuckling. I think the episode made a really bad first impression. The first 10-ish minutes, really sloppy editing, I think. It feels like 5 minutes is missing from that first act.
You think so?
I think so, personally, because like you'll notice how we never see some characters exit or leave scenes. There's very few establishing shots. We never see Madam Ching leave the village to get onto her ship. All of a sudden, she's just there. That other Chinese chap with John, what's his name? I forget his name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. Don't show me up.
It's like Ying Wei, I think. He's there with John Bishop on the beach all of a sudden, and like there's very little material in between.
That is true.
It's the connective tissue, I think.
Yeah, and 13 just suddenly knows that Dan's wandered off, but there wasn't really much of a discussion, and we didn't really see him split up. He was just kind of in a different place. Good point. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that too much.
And you know that shot we've seen of the Sea Devil in the trailer? It's out of focus, walks towards the camera. Sea Devil looks great, but
yes,
later on when the 13th Doctor says something to it, it's mirrored the shot. It's the same shot, but they've just mirrored it. So stuff like that feels uncharacteristically shoddy of the era. Like, I am a defender of the production values of this era, but the first 10-15 minutes felt uncharacteristically shoddy.
I'm like the biggest person for spotting continuity things in existence. Like, one of my most annoying things is a shot in Fear Her when the 10th Doctor opens up that jar of, like, honey or whatever it is and goes to just start eating it. In one shot, he uses one finger, then it changes cameras and goes back to when he's suddenly got two fingers in his mouth and then puts the jar down. And that's like one of the things I pick out as that's like a blaring continuity thing that no one spots, and now anyone else who sees it will feel the same way. I'm surprised I didn't notice that with the shot. I'm really shocked.
That Fear Her example is the worst thing to happen in that episode.
It's bad. It's a bad shot. It was just like, oh, no. It's one of those things you might actually not have noticed. And there's like, 250 people watching, which, by the way, is amazing. Oh, my God.
Thank you. Hit that like button. Massively helps out.
It's crazy.
How many likes can we get for the Sea Devil jumping to the ship?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, that was... You gotta bear in mind, I've never seen the Sea Devils before, so maybe they can do that or something. What a first impression. But that was like an incredible Hulk jump. I don't know what was going on there. Just leapt.
Like, yeah.
I did find it a bit wacky.
And there's stuff like when the Doctor and Yaz are on the seabed. There's some beautiful shots there. That looks really cool.
Oh, yeah.
However, it's like when Jodie gets on the floor and starts scanning the seabed, and then it starts falling apart. And I think it falls apart way quicker in the CGI than it was meant to have done on set. Like, they don't react to it very quickly. Like, it's just, it sounds nitpicky, but I think for me this stuff does add up, where it's like, I think we're missing a full 10 minutes from this story, which would make sense. Like, maybe this was meant to be an hour-long special, and as you said, it's shorter than a conventional Flux episode.
Yeah, that's what's so weird, because like half of Flux's episodes were an hour and half were 50 minutes. Like, none of them were that short in length. It just seemed very odd that was the kind of runtime they went to. I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like it was a bit run of the mill, but I did like it, and there were a few like good little moments in it. I loved their little giving you credit card details out to sharks gag. That was quite that had me chuckling more than it should have done. And I know, have you seen the tweets regarding that scene? Because I know you're keeping very clean, but have you seen the particular tweets of people spotting something in that
where he does not say quiet?
Yes, because I heard quiet the first time round, and then I saw the tweets and watched the clip and went, "Oh God,
that Sea Devil's got sass."
He's got more than sass. He's got a dirty mouth. I'll tell you that much. Good God.
But yeah, like, because I'm with you. Like, I've got many complaints. I do, but I still think it's a fun, light adventure. Like, I'd still take this over something like Warriors of the Deep with the Sea Devils, which is not a high bar. But I think because it was bigger and more ambitious with more characters than something like Eve of the Daleks, Eve felt a lot more polished, shall we say? Like, it felt more like, even if it's not really like trying to hit out of the park or really being ambitious, it's working at what it wants to be. Like, I think that Crystal Yu as Madam Ching, strong performance, but there's not a lot to the character outside of, I want to get my family back. But I think she makes a good first impression performance-wise, but you could have replaced this with any other pirate from history, and I don't think much would have changed. But sometimes just having that untold part of history is worth it in the end.
Well, I suppose the question arises of, I know nothing about Madam Ching. Does anyone actually know in history if it's mentioned that she did try and rescue her crew by finding some treasure? Like, is that actually a true story, that bit? Because I suppose if it is, then that might well be.
The pirate that she mentions from the Black Flag Fleet was an actual pirate who she did travel with, but I couldn't find anything about the ransom or the kidnapping of the family. But like, that's just a cursory Wikipedia, which is what all my cultured brain can handle. So there's some elements of truth in it, I think. But it's enough. I think it's enough to sort of get you from A to B. But
yeah, it's kind of like In Defense of the Indefensible. Because I know people are saying, "Oh, Chibnall's really big for his historical episodes, and you find a lot about the people." But like, if you compare Madame Ching in this episode to like Rosa in the Rosa Parks episode, that episode is all about her.
Yeah, it's
so you'd
night and day.
expect to find a lot of stuff about her out in that episode, whereas this episode wasn't about Madame Ching. Like the drawing force was the Sea Devils. The idea is it was meant to focus on the Sea Devils, so I kind of get that they didn't have as much focus on Madame Ching. So I get the point, but I'm also just kind of like, I wasn't really expecting to find out tons about her. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Crystal Yu anyway. I don't know whether you ever watched Casualty, but I watched her across like her whole time in Casualty, and she was in that for like 4 years. So so I like knew her before, and I was like, it's cool to see her in Doctor Who.
It's cool that they're still able to get some like, I almost want to say TV royalty, because I know that she's a big name like outside of so it's still good that they're able to get a good guest cast there. I even liked Arthur Lee as Ji Hun, who's the other pirate who is like
he was good.
He had a real presence to him. I think he did really, really well. And oh my goodness, sorry,
mate, no, you're having a laugh.
Thank you. Doctor Who Fan J is a patron as well. £449.99. Thank you. That's not appeared on my feed yet, but when it does, I'll ding it. Do you expect some of that to go to Troy, Doctor Who Fan J? Are we going to haggle something?
Do I get a cut? I'll take it. I'll take it.
So I'm so sorry to derail this conversation, Troy, but I'd like to put you on the spot about this.
Mate, if I got 450 quid dropped in a stream, you bet your backside I'd be interrupting whatever I was saying. It's perfectly valid.
Are we able to get Crispy Pro like to fly over to England now? Is this the... Okay, thank you to Doctor Who Fan J for the £449.99 super chat.
That's so crazy. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Is there any significance to that number? Is that like all of the Big Finish releases for this month or something? Thank you, truly, from the bottom of my cholesterol-ridden heart, to both yourself and Samuel I can't speak, to Samuel Whitaker as well. Thank you. We'll get to that question in a minute, Doctor. I'm sorry to keep you waiting after a substantial donation. I'm so sorry. So. Legend of the Sea Devil. We could buy the Treasure of the Flor de la Mar.
I was gonna say you've made more money than the Treasure of the Flor de la Mar at this point. Good grief!
My goodness. Okay, right. So Ji Hun. I liked him in this episode, but once again, it's the connective tissue. There's the scene when he speaks to Madame Ching and is like, "Get my treasure. Get the Flor de la Mar treasure from the ship. Maybe it can do some good." But they've never interacted with each other outside of their introductory scene to each other. So does he know about the ransom? Does he know about the kids? Like, there's no scene like that. That's the connective tissue.
It's true. Yeah.
It functionally works, but it's the details. Like, it's the difference between a 5 or 6 out of 10 becoming a better story, if that makes sense. I think the story coasts along fine. It gets along on energy. And like the action scenes, the sword fights are pretty cool. Like for BBC TV Easter budget, I
liked the duels. I really liked them.
Yeah. I think there's some cool stuff there. Like I think there's some cool swashbuckling, and I think we laugh at some of the effects like the jumping sea devil, but some of the effects like the flying pirate ship, like the monster under the water, the fish floating around the TARDIS lamp at the top. There is some beautiful stuff here. And I think we shouldn't neglect that, of course. And I think that Holo Wang, who directed this episode, made her directorial debut on TV here. Like, kudos to her for this is not an easy story to film. And I think she directed it well. I just think this is an editing issue. It's the connective tissue, I think, that you lose because you lose maybe 10 minutes of the story. And I think when it comes to maybe the Blu-ray release, which we got a confirmation this week that it's going to be paired with Eve of the Daleks for a Blu-ray release.
Yeah, which is interesting.
That's that's very strange. Like, I'm still waiting for Revolution of the Daleks to get a steelbook release. I will be waiting till the Heat Death of the Universe, I think, but I will wait.
Yeah, because that's what I'm waiting for. Yeah, because you literally beat me to it. Is that I literally have every steelbook from Modern Doctor Who. I don't know whether they're in the camera shot. My boom arm's blocking them ever so slightly, but they're kind of like. Oh yeah, hang on. I'll lit my mic up for a second. You can see there.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's a point of pride to have all those for me. So I'm just waiting for the Jodie special steelbook to come out, which I'm guessing is what they're cooking up. But yeah, where is Revolution? That's a good point.
It doesn't have one. I've actually spoken to an artist who might do some artwork for me so I can get it printed myself, just so it's there. Like,
that's a good shout.
Exactly. And with these super chats, I'll be able to afford it. Thank you, folks. So yeah, but yeah. So for Legend of the Sea Devils, I thought it was fun. There was some decent humor, like you mentioned the shark joke as well. I think that
I love that.
that was fun. There's some cool 13th Doctor lines here as well. I like Dan in the pirate suit, and like he does have the hook on his hand when he leaves the TARDIS. That's commitment to the bit, and I liked that a lot.
That's just John Bishop, though. He's just a legend. Like I saw
so
him on
good.
set in Flux. When he was filming, it was one of the flashback scenes in Once Upon a Time, like where Di comes out of the museum and he gives her a coffee. I was there on watching them on the set, just the little flex there. But he came over to take picture people like in between takes, and the first thing he said to me, I had like the replica of Jodie's scarf on from Resolution. He just went, "Is that the official Doctor Who scarf?" I was like, "Yeah, it is actually." The first thing he said. He's so involved in all of it, and I love it. He's been so good, honestly.
Yeah, like he's been great.
Yeah.
There's people saying like Chibnall hates the white dude demographic, but with Graham and John Bishop, he's done our demographic gold. Shall we say? Not to drag you into that conversation, but like,
don't worry about it. I can say whatever I want on that, and just it's daft.
But yeah, John Bishop's great as well. I also there is the one bit though where he kills 5 Sea Devils with one sword swipe. Like that's Evil Dan made canon, right?
Did any of the Sea Devils mention soup? Okay, did any of them? Someone run it back and listen. Did any of the Sea Devils mention soup? That's all we need to know.
What's the point of being a pirate if you can't make others die? Yeah. And Curiosity Rocks in the chat as well.
Nobody needs soup more than me. That was the treasure of the Flor de la Mar. It's just soup. It's just soup.
It's just soup. All those Sea Devils are soup, I'll tell you that. But Curiosity Rocks in the chat as well is our biggest. We've got the biggest John Bishop fan in the chat as well. Curiosity Rocks as well. So yeah, let's talk about the Thasmin stuff as well, because it's something that, I can take or leave it as a story point. I kind of need to see how it's executed, but I really did love the last 2 scenes. Like, I liked Dan's phone call with Di. I had a big grin on my face during that scene.
I loved that.
I was so surprised how invested I am in that romance.
Yeah, because I thought I kind of like, I don't know how everyone else feels about the Vanquishers. I know that a lot of people weren't a big fan of that last Flux episode. I liked it, but the thing is with me, if people don't know me, which is not an egotistical thing, it's just a statement. If you don't know, I'm a very optimistic person. I often find the good in a lot of stuff, and I'm less likely to hate something or dislike something than most people, unless it's cats, because that was an abomination.
Yeah.
I draw the line with cats. But I really liked the last episode of Flux, but one thing I felt was a bit flat was Di being like, "Do you mind if we just don't do anything?" And I was kind of like, it makes sense logically, but it felt like a bit of a lull as the episode was wrapping up. They just kind of stepped down a little bit, and I was like, oh, really? There's not really a closure bit there? So I'm glad that they've gone back and addressed that, because I honestly did not see that coming. Didn't think they were going to touch on that. So that was a nice touch.
Yeah, if that was where they left it at the end of Flux, I would have been disappointed. But yeah, because it looks like we might get some closure there. That's fun. Yeah, I want to see how that pans out. But
I'm loving reading your chat right now. Honestly, Mr. TARDIS is going to end up getting a month's wages in one night. Damn. Well, he did say as soon as he called me that he wanted my Jodie pop, which you actually asked me to get out. So I'll show people.
So that's your most prized possession.
Not even a joke. Genuinely, not even a joke.
To Troy.
My most.
With a heart on it as well.
Yeah, with the diamond passive for meeting it. It's if you don't know, if you're not a big Funko connoisseur like I am, because I am, and it's basically just all my money. If you could see this cupboard here, but I'll just say this: I literally own every single Doctor Who pop in existence.
Those prints are awesome. I've got those Series 8 prints and Series 9 one. I've got them in like an envelope in the back of my shelf somewhere as well.
Oh, they're so cool. I love them. I'm gonna have to take a couple down to put up some pictures from Wales Comic Con, and I don't want to because they've literally been up there the whole time. But no, there's only 1,300 of these in the world, so they're like very, very hard to come by. And I got it signed with my name on at London Comic Con spring and February, and I found out after getting it signed that there weren't personalizations allowed. So how I got her to write my name on it, I still don't know to this day. I just walked up to her and went, "Can you write it to Troy?" And she went, "Yeah." Gave me the pop. I walked away, and just one of my friends was at the concert to me. "How'd you get that with your name on?" And I went, "What do you mean?" And then they just pointed at a sign right next to it that said "No personalizations," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't know that.
The next time you go to World's Comic Con, it will say no personalizations, but there'll also be like a little fold out underneath the sign saying, "Yes, including you, Troy."
Yeah. Oh, honestly, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, yeah. But yeah, let's bring it back on topic. So Thasmin, like, I'm very big on that, to be honest. Like, I got Mandip to sign a pop of Jodie because they haven't done a Yaz pop, which they should have done. But I got her to write my good-hearted weirdo on it. That's how into Thasmin I am. And it was weird because I kind of, when there was a kind of mini plot beat in series 11, I was like, all right, whatever, you know, it's meh. But like, I'm so properly in it now, like from the hologram in Flux, everything. I've just been like, let's just do it. Like, let's actually have it happen. And I love that it's because of Jodie that it's happening, that she like asked to make it a thing with Chibnall. I love that so much. Like, that was such a lovely thing. But that was what I was saying earlier, is that like the Thasmin stuff in that episode was the stuff that stood out to me. As soon as Jodie just went, "Not a bad date, am I?" I was like, oh, right. So we really are. We're going to go full on this. Like, that was so good. I loved it. There were several mentions. It wasn't a one and done thing. Like, it was dotted across the episode, and I really liked that they gave it time. Arguably the time they took from the Sea Devils, but you can't have everything, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that if it's something that's going to reverberate into the centenary, it might work better in hindsight as well. I think it works as well because it's happening in response to the ending of The Vanquishers, where the Doctor meets Time and is basically told, "Yeah, you're gonna die. Like, no regeneration. So this is the end for you."
My throat.
Yes. So if it was
that was like a proper Ood Sigma in the snow. That was like, I did not like that at all.
So because she thinks that this is the end for her, maybe that's one reason she's so hesitant to commit to Yaz. But it becomes the text during that brilliant scene at the beach as well. That's so well performed by both of them. I think obviously Jodie is one of the best actresses working in TV today, if you've seen her other stuff outside of Doctor Who as well. But Mandip is astonishingly good as well. I think she is.
Yeah, the two of them are brilliant. I did when I watched the scene, I saw two different things out of it at the end of the scene. I thought first off that that Yaz had just persuaded 13 to give it a go, and that they said, "Oh, you know, let's just live in the present and make the most of it," as if that was her changing her mind and saying, "Let's do it." And then afterwards, I saw someone saying, "Oh no, that's 13 actually shutting Yaz down," and Yaz just kind of agreeing. I don't know which way did you read that scene? Like, are they actually giving it a go, or are they saying that it's not worth it? Because I
read it as like. I read it as the other way. I read it as like, can't we just live in the moment, like live in the present? It's like, I think I'm gonna die. If I'm gonna have it, let's spend this last incarnation I've got together. That's how I kind of read it.
Yeah, I read it as like, that Yaz kind of just that little line of saying, you know, if something takes courage, it's like the right thing or whatever. I can't remember the line now, but it was a brilliant line. So I'm very sorry I butchered it. But when she said that line and then 13 was like, "Let's live in the present," I went, "Okay, good. Are we doing this then? Good, please do it." Because I didn't want it to be a kind of one and done thing where it's a bit of like queer baiting. Because I know some people have even accused it of that in this episode because it's kind of been shut down a little bit. But like, just that they're actually giving it the time to talk about it makes a huge difference. Because like, obviously everyone had a worry that there wouldn't be much talk in Sea Devils, and then right at the end of the centenary there'd be a bit of a, "Oh yes, da-da-da-da," and then done. And that would have been a bit concerning. I've got to be honest. I wouldn't have liked that. So I'm glad they're giving it the time. I just love that.
I'm looking forward to how it does pan out in the centenary, if it does at all. Like, I'm kind of like hesitant to sort of like fully comment on it as a proper concept, like depending on how it pans out as well. Because if it pans out with like Yaz dying or getting fridged, or with the kill your gaze trope or whatever is happening, then
she's so dead. She's so dead.
That's frustrating. I really hope not. That'll be frustrating.
I hope not, but I also just it's one of those things where I can kind of see it coming a mile away. And that would be very annoying for fans of a more recent BBC TV series that ended in a very similar way.
Oh.
We'll not go there for spoilers.
Yeah,
but
I've not watched that series in question at all. But everyone I know who's
neither have
seen
I.
it, yeah, everyone I've known like hates that ending. No one
Yeah.
walked away from that ending happy.
My mum, who actually I think is watching your stream right now because I told her I was on this, bless her heart.
I was almost tempted to bring it up.
Yeah.
Like, hi Troy's
She was
mum.
watching it.
She's making friends. Your boy's making friends.
Bless her.
Bless.
No, like she watches Doctor Who with me and everything. So like when I was getting all choked up over the time thing, she just looked at me and was like, "Uh-oh." Like she just knew. She just knew. She likes Jodie nearly as much as I do, honestly. But if I can just read out a couple of things in your chat, though, if you don't mind, I picked 2 things out that I just wanted to point out quickly.
No, go for it. Troy is now the moderator of the live stream. I'm going to take a few minutes off.
That's it. Yeah, I'm in control now. I just own it. Everywhere I go, I just take over. That's how it works. Shout out to Samuel McGreal for spotting the N7 hat because, yes, Mass Effect is one of the greatest video games of all time. Thank you for having taste. And Dr. Master said, do you ship Space Wives 13 and River? Yes, I do. And I think the one greatest loss of this era is that we haven't had 13 meet River. Because genuinely, Dr. Master put it in the chat again at the bottom now, like as if they didn't think I'd already picked their question out. I did. I literally paused the chat when I saw your question because I wanted to read it out. No, when they announced her as a Dr. Mike, the very first thing I said was, I can't wait to see River react to her husband becoming her wife. And I'm really sad that they haven't like followed through on that. I really hoped they would, but what can you do? You know what I mean?
I don't think Big Finish should like pick up on the slack for the TV era like as much as I think they're going to. It's not up to them to do it, but I'm looking forward to the inevitable 20-part box set of the 13th Doctor and River song.
Well, you can't keep Alex Kingston away from Big Finish, and I have a funny feeling Jodie Whittaker will be a very, very similar situation. She'll probably jump on Big Finish very quickly.
Yeah.
So there's bound to be a box set with those two. Like, there's bound to be. Because I love others people like trying to debate right now in the chat what are Funko Pops and why do people care about them. There's no real reason. Why is the sky blue? Why is grass green?
You know, it's just
some people just like spending money on things that have no real substance.
It's just forces of nature, everyone. You know.
It's just kind of like it's a Marmite thing. You either love them or you hate them. I just like having them. I like the style of them with the big heads and the small bodies and like the design and just getting them for all different TV shows and films. It's a fun collector's thing. Like it's on someone who's got a bunch of Doctor Who trading card collections and stuff, and just like anything you can collect for Doctor Who, I'm in on it. So like those Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who cards that are coming out like next month, the next trading card line. You can bet I'm going to buy like a huge box of them and just open them on a stream or something and see what we get. That's going to happen. It's just
steel books are like my vices, but also
one of mine.
and also like me and my wife, we get Universal Monsters Funko Pops. Like you pick your franchise and then you take it from there.
Or you do what I do and just buy whatever you like and then end up having too many of them, because that's what I did. I'm much more conservative with like how I buy my pops now. I'm much more like just get the ones you really want. But like I did say to you, I have every Doctor Who pop, so that kind of illustrates that I went through a period of having no self-restraint with these things. But
I expect like we'll watch BBC News tomorrow and say, "Oh, Troy was found buried underneath a pile of his Funko Pops."
Legitimately though, you haven't seen the cupboard picture. You haven't seen it. Like I could literally open it on stream right now, and you would lose your mind. I'll show you if you want to have a look. I mean, everyone will see them wearing PJ bottoms, but I have no shame. I don't care. Do you want to have a look?
If you don't mind, go for it. We got time.
I don't care. Go for it. Give me a reason to justify the money spending. I don't care. Go on, let's show everyone. I haven't got this open on stream in a while, so this will be interesting. I have a Morbius poster here. Anybody like Morbius? I got it for free, and it's just on my floor for no reason.
It's the summer of Morbius.
Here we are. Trading cards. See what I mean?
What?
I can't hear what you're saying right now, so you're probably being like very stunned. But every Doctor Who pop. Do you see now why I am single? How you have a wife? Like this is why you have the restraint. That's why you have a wife and I don't. Okay, this is the problem. This is the problem. But no, I've got like signed ones. The one that David Tennant signed is here. I've got a Mandit one, John Barrowman. Obviously, I know, but whatever.
That is a lot of cardboard, ST.
So you can just look at it. I don't care. Let's just see what people have said. What's everyone said?
Well, ST.
Because I'm back. Hello.
ST says that's a lot of cardboard, but I felt like that when we were across the room, we were doing like partners in crime, like through the window, like mouthing to each other.
Oh, see, if I could see your camera, I'd have been able to get that, but I can't see your camera, man.
I'm very sorry.
All right. I just want to read through what everyone was saying. Morbius Sweep Reel. Yes, Morbius is the greatest film of all time.
Yes, it's a Morbius summer, everybody. The summer of Morbius. One thing I would like to talk to you about, apart from your Funko Pop collection,
Addiction, yes.
is your podcast with Crispy, Who's There, a Doctor Who
Yes.
podcast, which you're like 10 episodes deep now. I've listened to all of them except for the TV movie one so
Okay.
far, but yeah, just really enjoy it. I think because that was where I discovered you through Crispy, like with collaborating with you during the podcast and everything, and yeah. But what I've put together real quick for people who might want to check out the links in the description to find your stuff is the Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast drinking game. So basically,
What? Sorry? Do I need to go and get some vodka? What's going on here?
well, this is just something I think to try. You know, it's fan engagement for people who might want to listen to your podcast. So,
Okay.
so if you listen to Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast with Troy and Crispy, take a drink if Crispy breaks into song or rap. You take a drink if Troy goes to a convention and meets a doctor. You take a drink for you take a drink for every doctor that gets met. Okay, you take a drink if Troy and or his mum go to a convention and break the rules, either intentional or unintentional.
It's never. It's never been intentional. It's never been intentional. Don't paint me out.
I'm future-proofing. I'm future-proofing the list. Okay, you take a drink if Troy bullies Crispy, and you finish the drink if Crispy bites back. You take a drink if Crispy talks about visiting England, and you finish the drink if he goes to check plane ticket prices. You take a drink if either Crispy or Troy mention James Corden. You take a drink if Troy mentions your finances, like, oh, I will never fiscally recover from this convention, for example.
It's true, I never will.
Take a drink if Crispy does his Peter Capaldi impression. And lastly, you take a drink if either Crispy or Troy bring up the Absorbal off, and you finish the drink if Troy quotes, "You've dabbled with aliens,
article.
now you meet the genuine article."
Every episode. Episode.
So, chat, you've got 9 to 10-ish episodes, and you've got a drinking game. What else are you going to do this summer?
That's beautiful. Oh my god, I love it. Thank you for that. I'm going to watch this clip back, take notes, and we will mention it in the recording. We haven't recorded our Sea Devils episode yet. I have asked Crispy when we're going to record it, and he's not come back to me because he's asleep, because he lives in Australia and time is weird.
H.R. Wrigley says, take a drink if Troy talks about Morbius.
Oh yeah, I talk about it so much. Morbius is definitely the most movie of any movie. There's lots of the plot is very, and I love the cast when they do. Yeah, and
the plot is very.
Yeah, it's very. You know what I mean? It's very. No, so basically the whole podcast thing. It's like the most like kind of beautiful storm of how it happened, because what I've done, I've had a podcast myself for a couple of years now called The Redcast, which is basically just like, it's all about exploring the world of entertainment and talking to a bunch of different people. If it's like a YouTuber or a composer or an actor, I've had like a bunch of different video game actors on. Like my biggest kind of flex is I've had Hitman on there, which was really cool. And I've had like a couple of Life is Strange people on. Like I bounce between people and just try and talk to people and like find out about their lives and their work and stuff. And when I started off, the first kind of like season of it was bouncing around a lot of people, because I'm known most for playing a game called Payday 2. I don't know if many people out there have heard of it in your community, but like, so I had a lot of Payday people, but in my mind I was like, I don't want it to just be Payday. I want to explore things that I like and interview different people from different surroundings. And one was, I thought, Crispy Proud, because I'd just come across his content. I hadn't been like huge on the YouTube scene. I didn't know much about it. But when I saw his channel, I thought, you know what, it'd be really cool to talk to someone like about Doctor Who. Because I've never really had a chance to kind of throw that out on a video properly, because it's not really related to Payday. And so I invited him onto the podcast and he agreed. And we basically had I think it was about 2 hours, the episode, when they're meant to be about 60 minutes. So we just talked. And it was after the Timeless Children. So we were talking about like Revolution of the Daleks and all that. And for a while afterwards, I kind of said to him, I was like, we should do something else. In my head, I kept listening back to the episode, which sounds really egotistical, but I kept listening back to it and going, there's so much potential here for us to do a proper podcast for Doctor Who. So I messaged him at one point and went, you know what? I've been thinking about this for a while. Why don't we just do a podcast? Like, why don't we actually make a Doctor Who podcast? And we both just started brainstorming, and Who's There was born out of it. So it's just basically two YouTubers that just talk a lot about Doctor Who. We just like talk about everything to do with it. And it's a weekly show. And if I can just basically just slide straight into self-promo, I'll do so.
Yeah, please do.
But you can check out the podcast. It's got its own YouTube channel. Who's There? A Doctor Who Podcast is the full name. You can check it out. We've got a Linktree link. If I can get it, I'll put it in the chat to save everyone the hassle, because that will just make life easier to get all the links. There we go.
If you send it to me as well, I'll put it in the description as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's sent as an actual link when I put it in your chat. Yeah, so I'll just send it to you on Discord. But we're on YouTube. We've got a YouTube channel. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts at the minute. So you can listen to it on or watch it on any of their Spotify and YouTube have got video versions. And honestly, I would recommend the video versions, because I just like when I show stuff on screen and we talk about stuff, especially the Comic-Con episodes, it makes more sense to see what we're talking about. But you can obviously watch it as an audio, listen as an audio thing. There's no real thing there. But we put a new episode up every Saturday and just talk about different things every week. So most recently, like you said, was the TV movie. We watched the TV movie and talked about it. I hadn't seen it for years, and Crispy had never seen it. So we both kind of shared our thoughts on it and rambled about it. And next week we'll talk all about the Sea Devils and the Centenary. And that'll be a long episode. I've done the editing for every single episode and I make jokes about it in the podcast, but I purely just agreed to it because I've done loads of podcast stuff anyway. Like the Redcast has 20, 25 episodes at this point. Probably like as many episodes as Jodie's had as the Doctor. Probably balances out. So I just edit them every week. So, I'm always crying when it's more than an hour long, but we have so much to talk about that it's just such a great thing. And I really am happy that it's had a good reception so far and that people have really been properly checking it out. So if anyone watching wants to give it a listen, we would really appreciate it. It would be really, really cool. And yeah, go do so. If Mr. TARDIS can listen to it, then you all can as well. There you go. That's my biggest push.
No, it does gets the Mr. TARDIS seal of approval. I think I was the 100th YouTube subscriber as well.
You were, yeah, that was a big thing as well.
So basically, as soon as I did that, Troy was like, "Oh, because you won the prize, I get to be on your live stream." So, oh, okay. No, that didn't happen. I reached out to Troy.
I did. That's how it worked. Yeah, I just shoved myself at him and went, "You want me on your stream?" No, he wanted Crispy Pro, but he was asleep, so he got me. That's how this works.
Well, so one time I think I did. I've done a couple of streams where I've finished at 11 p.m. and then Crispy's in the chat saying, "Oh, hi everyone, hi Crispy, we're leaving now." Sorry, Crispy, we're going.
Basically, I think he did consider it. He genuinely did think through trying to be on it. But I said to him, I was like, "It's gonna be about 4 a.m. your time," and he went, "Oh no, I don't." It's yeah, no, I get it. It's fair. It makes sense. Don't do it. No, don't do it.
And can you imagine all three of us trying to have some sense of order and trying to? That would be. Maybe
we need his segues. Yeah, we need his segues.
Too much. But yeah, so I'll put a link to the that Linktree description in the description of this live stream and everything. Troy, it's been absolute pleasure chatting with you. I hope your mum's still watching and watching a boy make some friends on the internet. She just
messaged me, so yeah, she is. She just said she was really enjoying it.
Well, thank you, Troy, as well. Massively appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was a great seal of approval.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Actually, one last thing real quick while I remember, because one thing I really like your input on the podcast is also talking about the conventions as well. Not just meeting all of the doctors and trying to, go to Peter Davison and be like, "Hey, Peter, I want your autograph." But later on, you're meeting me later, and Peter's like, "Yeah, okay, Troy.
Okay, didn't be egotistical. Don't be like that.
That never happened. Hey, Peter, you're gonna be sleeping with the fishes if you don't do the autograph." No, that doesn't happen. How many conventions have you been to in the past couple of years? Off the top of your head?
3. Genuinely just 3. We've only probably got into conventions right before COVID kicked off. We went to MCM in Birmingham in 2019, and we've been to a couple beforehand, but it was very kind of touch and go, and we kind of went, let's go to more of these. We need to go to more. And so we were going to, and then COVID happened, so we didn't. So we went to MCM Birmingham again at the end of 2021 and loved that. But the 2 Comic Cons we've been to where we've done loads of stuff has just been these 2. Has been the London Comic Con and Wales. So it makes it sound like we go to loads of these and spend loads of money. When I say I don't have money after those cons, I mean it. Those were big exceptions, and now I'm kind of now I've met each of these people. I don't really need to meet them again. I'll just tick off any extra ones if anyone's show up. I don't know, rob a bank to make the money. That's a joke. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
It's nice to get to chat to them behind the scenes and see what they're like, and especially the classic Doctors are so down to earth and so lovely that it's just such a lovely time. It is such a lovely time. Just getting to chat to them for a little bit and getting to just have conversations and take pictures with them and to actually like the photos. I'm very judgmental of my photos of myself, and I've loved all the photos I've got, which is really nice because I was worried that one of these days I get a photo and go, I don't like this, because I had one taken with Pearl Mackie a couple of years ago, and I look back on it now, and I don't like how I look in the photo. I'm super judgmental of it, but I'm glad that all the ones now are good, especially with how much they cost, because it's why I'm poor. It's why I'm poor, which is why in the Jodie pop, I've actually left. I've left the diamond pass thing in there to remind myself you spent too much money on this. But did you get a photo with Jodie? Yes, I did. I did, Dr. Master. I did.
If you follow Troy on his Twitter, social media, and also on the podcast episodes, because you edit them as well, so you put the photos in. So there we go. The bases are all covered there. The bases are all covered.
I could put it on my screen right. I've just realized I have a huge brain. Sorry, that's a big flex, big brain. I've just realized you're seeing my OBS virtual camera, so anything I put into OBS, you will see. No. So if I do this, you will see this. Oh, it's so big it doesn't fit the scene.
Just Jodie's face.
Just Jodie grinning. Yes. Yeah. Oh my god. So there we go.
That was at the London one from a couple from like a month ago, 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the photo of that. I can literally just flick through all of them very quickly if you want to say.
We can lightning
such an ego trip. This is such an ego trip. Oh my god. So there's me with Jodie and Mandip. And again, I know it's a bit, but this is why I'm poor. This is why I am poor, because this costs too much money, and I'm aware of that. I wonder if my mum would mind me sharing her picture. I mean, it's in the podcast, so I
think your mum's in the chat. Does her name begin with a T?
Yes, it does.
She's in the chat.
She got photos with David Tennant. She didn't get any photos with Jodie. So I can share the ones with David Tennant in a minute. But yeah, there's me with Colin Baker, who was a gentleman and was wearing Crocs, or was it clogs or Crocs? I can't remember. But I love how he had a big suit and had like Crocs on at the end. It was just such a fashionable man, a very fashionable man. And there is Sylvester McCoy. Which was very, very cool. He was just like, I just love. He did a cosplay photo shoot. They announced it on the day, and I missed out on that, which made me sad because I would have loved. Because since I was doing the Capaldi outfit, which who in the chat? Let's play a fun game. Who in the chat can recognize the outfit? What episode is the outfit from? Can we recognize it? It is darker on the photo than it should be.
I'll take a punt.
Yeah, you take a punt. There'll be a stream delay, so everyone has a chance to guess while you think about it. So that's fine.
Is it Time Heist?
No, it's not actually. No, it's not. Do you want to take another stab?
It's not Into the Dalek, is it? It's not Into the Dalek.
No, we're talking. I'll just hide this for a second.
We're talking Series 8?
Series 10.
Oh, Series 10. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm going to need a minute. But we got some people saying Dr. Falls, multiple Dr. Falls. We got Lie of the Land.
There we go, Lie of the Land, bingo. Yeah, it's the coat from Extremis and Lie of the Land. It looks like what I'm saying. It looks much darker. It is more like a dark, like grey. In real life. I don't know why it come out so black in that picture. But all right, so you want me to continue the photo? It's just a photo.
But that socially distanced photo with yourself and McCoy is. I like to think Dave Bautista as Drax was in the photo as well. He's stood in the middle, and you're not actually socially distanced.
You've seen episode 7 of Who's There, haven't you? So you'll remember that I mentioned in that I went to I've been to 4 conventions last year. I forgot I went to Liverpool Comic Con. My brain is not functioning. It never does. But I met Ron Perlman, nice. And I shared the photo, but it was like through a photo frame, so everyone thought it looked photoshopped because of the way I'd taken the photo. And so someone took it and just went, "I'm going to Photoshop this to look like you met Peter Griffin." And do I still have the photo? I there it is. Found it. There we go. I can put it on the stream right now. Nice. Someone took the Photoshop and put Peter Griffin next to it instead, which is just like it's just so stupid. I love it. I really do.
I've got a friend who's like printed out a load of their convention photos and has like got them on the wall, and I guess I'm thinking have the Peter Griffin one.
Yeah, I should put that on my door.
That's such a good conversation starter.
Oh my god. Here is bada bing. There's Tennant, and I can share my photo with my mom. Did she put anything in the chat? I don't know whether she said anything.
She did a while ago. I think it was just her saying hi, hello.
Okay, well she didn't say that she didn't want a photo sharing, so there you go. I am thoroughly enjoyed listening in. She said, "Oh, that's lovely." So I'll share her photo with David Tennant because I know she wouldn't mind me sharing. She was already putting the podcast, and she said it was fine. So if she can tolerate the podcast, she can tolerate a Mr. TARDIS stream. You know what I mean? I'm only just tolerating it, but
thank you, Troy's mum. Thank you. Can we go outside and play for a bit, please?
There's my mum with David Tennant. There you go.
Lovely.
I love that photo. It's a great photo. It is a lovely photo. And again, the poor bit, you're getting it now. You're getting it. Do you see where this is coming from? There is Catherine Tate.
Oh, nice.
I don't know why, but someone in the chat said, can we have an uncomfortable close-up of Tennant? So this is going to be a nightmare in OBS, but I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. There you go. There's a close-up of Tennant.
The best part is that the best part is once if you hold that there, I can actually zoom in myself and make him even bigger on my end.
Yeah, there's a lot of zooming going on here just to fit these in. I love how this is just basically my giant ego stroke. I promise I'm not as egotistical as I'm coming off, but people want to see the photos, and I will happily take any excuse to share them because of how expensive they are. And also because I love them.
If you do it on my live stream, it now becomes tax deductible.
Well, if you're paying me to cut out the super chats, then you know.
Well, let's not get hasty here, Troy.
Oh, Doctor Who fan does say you can share the super chat with me.
Okay, I will. Okay, we'll figure something out. I
can't wait to get £1 out of it. Thank you very much, Mr. Tardy.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how this works.
Mate, no, seriously. If you keep that, you've earned it. You want to send it to me, I won't complain. But I'm not going to hold his word against you. That's for you. It's your content.
I'm a Doctor Who live streamer. Have I really earned it?